My profile picture, that's me right now.
So is
There
it
we
like
go.
the
There we
oh,
go. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've been having a lot of internet issues lately, more so than usual. Everyone. Um, but yeah, no. So can I retread like the last 30 seconds, real quick?
yeah.
Uh, well, see, I actually, I do, I agree on both ends. I, I do like the general feel of the gunplay because when you have those moments where like you feel like Master Chief and you're just fucking shredding through people and fucking just running around the goddamn place, it feels great. But when you have one of those moments where you fucking die 4 times in a row because the same goddamn brute officer that's like half a click away from you keeps fucking pelting you with goddamn mortars and you don't have a single fucking weapon that can kill him in any decent fucking speed without unloading an entire mag onto him or more, depending upon what it is, that completely kills the fucking momentum of the game. And it fucking like it just stops everything. And that sucks
Also,
ass.
just
So
saying, real quick, when it comes to gunplay, whoever idea it was to make it so that the improved UNSC weapons don't get resupplied with the regular by the ammo of the regular UNSC weapons needs to be brought out back and
I do think
given
that's
a
a little
stern talking to.
that's very dumb. I did not know that didn't fucking get that's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
dumb.
because I got the improved shotgun and I got the long shot M40 I think it is, the AR, and I was like, all
Mhm.
right,
yeah.
cool, because they work really fucking well. Um, that improved shotgun actually has decent range potential. Like you don't have to be right up on them to get all the pellets on. It can one tap lower brutes, and you don't get it until the point in the game where you're dealing with wraiths finally, and a lot more upgraded troops, and a lot more troops. Um, so you're like, you need better weaponry, but the game cucks you out of it.
As I
I
was saying, uh, it, so like, it's not. I have to agree. It's not that it's bad. Like it is when it's going well, it's good. But like when you hit that fucking wall and like you just have to like fucking scramble around for like half a fucking minute trying to find some way to fucking survive the current situation at times like that, it fucking sucks. It's
understand that.
ugh.
It's kind of like shower sex.
That and fucking, the banished have too many just fucking explosives. Just in
Yeah.
general. God damn it.
Also, still, like the weapon designs for the banished, I kind of hate, like with a passion, as well as whoever decided to replace the Forerunner weapons we had with what we have now. I again take them out back, have a stern talking to,
Well,
because
the set good.
the what
The Sentinel beam.
the Sentinel beam is fine, but like the Halo, like for all its faults, Halo 4's Forerunner weapons were badass.
The only one that I hate is the fucking heat wave because the heat wave is just fucking goofy.
Like the heat wave and the cinder shot are just like the way they're designed. It does not. I do not like. I don't like how they
Also,
handle.
can we ask what happened to the saw?
Yeah, yeah. What happened to
The,
that, guys?
That level was so fucking cool in Halo 4.
Yeah,
Like I actually really liked fucking using it,
yeah.
and it's just gone now.
What happened to the SMG?
Instead, we have the commando, and I don't like the commando.
Yeah, no, we have the commando now.
I mean, I guess
what happened to my
argue.
DMR?
I guess you could argue because of like the whole story that UNSC material and like weapons are not as easily obtainable, but at the same time that would make no
Joe.
sense. No, you didn't let me finish. Let me finish. Uh, at the same time, it's also a matter of like, okay, but if they're not really that much obtainable to where you can't find a gun, how is the pilot fucking bingle hop? how is he finding all these fucking vehicles and shit?
I'll say there's that, but it's also like when it comes, like not even just that. First of all, there are weapon racks aplenty just sitting around the entirety of the map, filled with UNSC weapons. You wanna know where all of those UNSC weapons came from? The Infinity. You wanna know what ship was supplying you in Halo 4? The Infinity. So what the fuck happened to the Sol?
I don't know. I was trying to be considerate and maybe think, they have said that technically since the events of, you starting the game, that it's been like 3-4 months. Sometimes they say 5 months. That's something that I actually wanted to like say, like that I kind of have a gripe with, is they don't really nail the timeline down on when all of this happened and when the UNSC
I'm
supposedly.
glad you mentioned that because I thought it was like a fucking year or two.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
like the way they're talking and the way the Banish talk and everything, they're like, the UNSC is dead. I'm like, so y'all have glassed planet Earth, right?
That and Atriox, who fucking is, that's at the very beginning of the game. It's not a fucking spoiler.
Yeah.
A homie there, right afterwards, they're all very clear. Oh yeah, no, he's dead now.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, no.
Why?
If I'm not
What the
mistaken,
fuck?
he died during the events of Halo Wars 2.
Well, no one fucking plays Halo Wars.
But Master Chief at one point says that it's that well, no, not Master Chief. The pilot dude at one point says that Master Chief has been out like in space, free floating for like 3-4 months, and you're like, okay, you know, that's a fairly decent time frame. I guess it can make sense if they just completely fucking ganked the place and just made everyone look like a fucking pussy and T-posed on
I'm
them.
sorry. I'm sorry, but there was a decent mixture of Spartan classes on the Infinite, on the Infinity, not the Infinite, the Infinity. I'm not buying that they got their asses handed to them like they are supposedly did. Hell, I don't buy that Chief would have gotten his ass handed to him by Atriox.
Oh, so that's the problem with giving Chief like a good antagonist, is that it will, at least in fucking like 1 through most of 5, they were pretty clear and consistent on the idea of like, yeah, no, Chief is an unstoppable force of fucking righteous fury.
Yeah.
He's not going to lose. We'll make it seem like there's some struggle, but yeah, we're all very clear that he's not going to fucking lose. No one's gonna like toe to toe with him. This is, I really think, the first one, other than that retarded fucking scene in Halo 5, where he's just outright lost to a force that is not, fucking Grave Mind.
Yeah. Like, and my other problem is like, there is only one character so far that I think could ever go toe to toe, and this is actually no, all of it. Halo doesn't even have like a non-canon segment as much as prevalent as like something like Star Wars. There's only like 1 or 2 characters that I think could ever really, like, in a one-on-one fight, take Chief at this point. And all of the ones that come to mind have been given the mantle of arbiter at one point or another in their life.
I would also argue that Noble Six could probably put up a fight.
Oh yeah, Noble Six could hold their own.
I mean, he is a hyper lethal vector after all.
Yeah. I do think a few of the other Spartan 2s, a few of the other there's a few Spartan 2s that could also hold their own. But I really do, and I've said this to a lot of people. I don't know if I've said this on the stream. I hate Spartan 4s. This is just going on the record. I hate them with a passion. I think they take all the threat and all of the direness out of the Spartan program. I think they downplay the rigors and extremes that the UNSC were at when the Spartans were made. I think they are literally like, they're Mary Sue's almost, where it's like, oh hey, we have all the Spartan augments and armor and abilities, but we didn't have to be kidnapped orphans. We're literally all the upsides, none of the downsides, except for maybe infertility, but I don't know if they ever touched on that.
Listen, Jacob, that's an upside.
So
So
like I always hate it, especially when you get like we talked like I'm sorry, like we said Halo 5, where they try to act like Locke could even fucking step to Chief. Like, and
that,
people be like, oh well, they're both Spartans. Like, yeah, there's a difference between they're both Spartans, and you have one Spartan who before this was essentially a low level CIA operative, but in the world of UNSC, so a low level Oni operative. He wasn't even that high of a level in doing Oni shit. He investigated shit. Like he was technically a headhunter, but as we see, and I think it's Halo Nightfall. 1 second, sorry. Okay, sorry. As we see in Halo Nightfall, like there's nothing special about him, really. Like off the cuff, like there's nothing really special or anything about him. He's just your stock standard Oni agent. And then they're like, oh well, now he has all the augments and he's this Oni headhunter and he's super badass. And it's like, I understand, like, yeah, that kind of like being an Oni headhunter does carry some connotations. It does carry some level of, okay, this is a badass. But there's a difference between being an Oni headhunter that we have no prior knowledge of, aside from maybe a novel or two that I don't know about, and Halo Nightfall, which doesn't do a good job of making him to be some, super badass. And Chief, who by the point of Halo 5 has defeated the Flood, has defeated the Covenant, has technically defeated the Insurrectionist, has defeated the Didact. And most of this pretty much single-handedly.
I mean, I was just gonna ask you, how many bombs has fucking Locke ridden through space into a ship?
See, that's the thing. At the did you have either of you watched Halo Nightfall?
No, we've established this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. At the end of it, right? There's this whole thing where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna detonate a nuke to get everybody off the planet," right? Because the whole thing is that they're investigating a chunk of the first Halo ring that these guys have been mining materials off of, right? And then selling them off to the Covenant, and the Covenant have been using them to make like biological weapons. I don't know how this works. And then they get attacked by giant swarms of Legolo worms, and it's horrifying. But at the end of it, they're like, one of the dudes who was on the team with them is like, "Oh yeah, I used to be a Spartan," and he's like, "Hey, the remote for the nuke we're gonna use to destroy this place is dead. Don't worry, I'll fucking launch it." And Locke's like, "All right, cool," and just leaves.
That was another thing I was gonna ask. Where are the Let Golo? Where are the hunters? I mean, I understand that them being part of the Covenant to begin with was already a testy thing at best,
They're
and they
banished.
weren't really part of it.
Well,
Do they show up later? Have I
was-
just not fucking seen
I
them?
was-
Have you not run into him yet?
No.
Yeah, Griffin's real early. We established that last night. He just unlocked like the first equipment thing.
No, I fucking played a fuck ton last night.
Okay.
I'm up to all the equipment now.
Oh, you may have just
that.
missed him, because there is before you get the last two upgrades. I think it's either before you get the last two upgrades or before you get the last upgrade. Is a point where you go into a building and there's two hunters at the bottom of it. But yeah, no, there's hunters there. There is a
Oh, I didn't fight any.
spoiler warning. Technically, there's a hunter HVT.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh,
fucking hard to beat because they don't have the normal guns anymore. Because of course they don't.
I don't think it was
do they
that
at least do they still have like the soft squishy back that I can melee 5 times?
They do. Hard to get them to turn around.
Yeah, it's hard to get them to turn around, but I will say it gets exposed more and more as you damage them. Also, you would know the. Okay, when the most effective way to kill a hunter is just to hose them with the AR from the front, you've done something wrong. I'm sorry.
Dog, I don't even fucking bother with my guns anymore when it comes to high value targets. I either run them over, get a fucking turret, or I just fucking launch grenades and zip around. It's just it's not worth fighting them up front unless they're one of the grunt ones.
I fucking I had two sniper marines in and a Razorback, and they just 4-tapped the motherfucker. The PSA, Marines with sniper rifles are your best damn weapon against anything in this game.
When they hit things, they are.
Yeah.
But half the time they just fucking look around and fucking say, "Yeehaw, chief!"
I mean,
Good
honestly,
job.
I don't know if there's a difference
Like,
in the
okay.
AI between heroic and normal or and all that, but like the elites that not the elites, the Marines that I have been pulling up have been putting in their putting in their goddamn work.
Oh, mine just fucking die.
I
No,
haven't had
like they hit just about every target. I can literally just sit there, start doing donuts in an HVT area with a regular warthog with 2 Marines on it, and the guy on the turret will just start mopping the floor with all the ads.
Yeah, like I haven't had any issues. Like they'll actually like do fairly good. If anything, it's more of those like the situations where instead of trying to balance the combat, they're like, ah, yes, throw more enemies at him. That'll make the game harder.
There's
And that's really have like them dying for me at least.
also just saying once you unlock the Scorpion, you win the game.
I still have yet to use it.
I
unlocked
literally hopped in it, set out of the aggro range of an HVT, and just went boof, 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 and he was dead and just rolled away.
Now, some of the HVTs are a joke because you literally shoot them once in the head with the battle rifle, and they just literally explode.
Yeah, that I think is the core of the problem with the gunplay in Infinite is that every enemy either dies in one fucking hit
Or they take way too
or
long.
they take 2 fucking mags.
Yeah.
Like, and don't get me wrong, I get it. All right, grunts should always go down quick. They're grunts. Jackals shouldn't take too much, but again, if you want to give me a single, fucking headshot each time, I'm cool with that. Fuck jackals. All right, fuck those stalker rifles. There's no goddamn reason why they should have to line up a shot for their first one, and then every other shot is just pinpoint fucking accuracy, even if I'm moving. Fuck that noise, especially when they rapid fire that bullshit. That's incredibly annoying and frustrates the hell out of me. But like, then you get to fucking elites and fucking brutes and fucking like low level brutes and elites. Yeah, sure, they'll go down quick. And then you get the fucking high level ones. It's like, oh, great, I'm out of ammo now, and I've killed one of the let's see here, 3 of you. Cool, nice. And now I'm dead because I got mortared to high fucking shit.
And see, it's more understandable, like with some of the brutes, because like like the whole helmet shit, and it's like okay, so obviously what I need to do is I need to pop their shield, and then I need to pop off their helmet, and then boom, easy headshot, because that's how all the brutes are. And then you have the ones that charge at you, where they have barely any helmet on, and you shoot them in the head, and they don't die, and you're like, okay, what the fuck? And then you have those mortar ones, like you were saying, that you literally shoot their helmet off to where you can see their exposed face, and you shoot their exposed face, and you're like, okay, what the fuck?
The Ravager brutes are brutal. I hate them.
Yeah, I hate those things so god. And it's it's fucked up too because like it's not even a case of like, oh yeah, no, they're just rules. No, they literally just cheat.
Yeah, no.
You cannot use the Ravager in the way they do it. I had a motherfucker who was a fucking kilometer away from me. Not even fucking joking. Like a fucking kilometer away from me, just lobbing them right fucking onto me.
Because like,
and as I moved, the fucking trail followed.
Honestly, with what I think is a big problem with a lot of weapons and stuff, a lot of the weapon designs and stuff in the game so far is, while I am one who will argue for realism in their games and groundedness, there's a point where what's realistic needs to drop off. It needs to make way for what's more appealing from a gameplay standpoint. And
yeah,
well, in real life, a weapon that's able to arc over cover like that, or arc over a ledge to hit somebody trying to like a sniper or a marksman trying to take cover like that, perfectly fine. You would use that. Griffin and I have been playing enlisted recently. I have a grenade launcher in that now, and I will pop it through windows and just take out entire rooms. It's makes sense, but you either have to code in something that makes it so that there is now a greater chance for them to just shoot willy-nilly once they have lost sight of you, or just not have a weapon that works like that, because it's bullshit. Again, like Halo Infinite has seemed to be just the game to gimp marksman so far, because the stalker rifle takes so many damn shots sometimes to pop even like a base level brute in the face. Like I'll put 3 round I have to put 3 rounds in any of them really. Um, the UNSC sniper takes multiple shots at most. Um, and then you have shit like the Ravager, which just arcs over any of your cover and fucks you up. Um, the fact that everybody while you're lining up your shot, you can't snipe in a firefight because when you're lining up your shot, hey, guess what? Anybody with a shock rifle or a stalker rifle is lining up their shot and is about to just send you to your ancestors.
Well, see, my problem more stems to just the fact that like I've used the Ravager before, and you know what? You know what,
Also,
fuckers?
real quick,
I
pardon for any other sounds. I'm finishing my breakfast right now.
I cannot arc it over great distances and keep perfect accuracy at all. It literally does not go that far in my hands. You know what else? It also doesn't shoot as fucking often or as much as
Oh
all the
no.
fucking brutes using it. So it's less the thing about the weapon. It's just more fucking the rules for thee, not for me fucking style
Oh yeah.
that they're using with it. Like it has to be consistent. I'm not saying that they have to fucking run out of ammo and everything as well, because I know that would be that causes other problems. You know, if fucking enemies can just drop weapons that don't have ammo in them, then you get real fucking issues. So sure,
Mm-hmm.
but don't allow them to use it in a fucking way that the player cannot even get close to. Do not give it different fucking statistics because of it.
Also,
Like that's not okay.
another weapon that I think is bullshit right now. I don't know the actual name for it, so I'm just gonna call it the brute plasma cannons. Brute.
Oh, the scrap cannons?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those.
The ones that
Yeah.
have a seeking property to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
They literally just fire straight up in the air, and then the bullet just makes a 90-degree turn and seeks your ass out.
Oh no, that's the Hydra.
No,
Yeah.
not the Hydra. It's the scrap
Sure.
cannon.
You
I-
mean the one that like have
Oh,
that they
yeah.
it's kind of like you do with the plasma cannons when you rip
Yep.
them off the turret.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's the scrap cannon. I don't know that fucking tight of a
Yep.
lock on. Then that sucks. I know it fucking explodes like every other goddamn fucking banished weapon, though.
Because I was dealing with the HVT that you get the 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 special skewer from, and
Yeah.
he has a scrap cannon, and I remember sitting back behind cover, and by cover I mean a rock that was high above where he was. And I remember literally watching the rounds go straight up in the air and then just turn straight for me.
Jacob, you didn't use your drop wall ability.
I didn't have it at the
If
time.
if you had just used the, at least on Xbox, very obtuse method of switching between your abilities to pick the proper equipment for the proper situation, you wouldn't have been in that scenario.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I have not used a single other fucking ability even once.
Same.
Same. Only been
There's,
the grab.
there's no reason to use anything other than the grappling hook. It's the best thing, and like even though I don't like it from like a feeling standpoint of like Chief should not have a goddamn grappling hook and be zipping around, it doesn't feel like Halo to me to do that. It feels like fucking Just Cause. It is fun to do, and it is incredibly useful in combat because I'm not sure I'd be able to fucking get this far without it. Like it really is, though. It's the best thing to have. It gives you a reliable stun. It lets you
Mhm.
close the fucking distance. It gives you like the most fucking
Okay.
instant kills. It keeps you from dying.
By reliable stun, do you mean the slam attack or the shock?
The shock.
The shock, I don't know
What?
why, but the shock for me only works like 10% of the time.
It depends on
You, yeah, you have to hit something that does not have a shield. Otherwise, it just does nothing.
Even shit that doesn't have a shield. Like I've popped jackals with it, when they don't have their when they're literally like grab onto them and they does nothing to them. I don't know.
Well, which sniper jackals or like the shield jackals?
Both.
Well, shield jackals, the grapple shot is essentially a melee hit to their shield, and that's why they kind of like.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know that part, but I'm still talking about even if I land a hook onto their body and am
Yeah,
getting pulled into them.
I don't know what's going on with yours then because I've never had that issue with
You know,
them.
like it only works like 10% of the time. When shielded, unshielded, it doesn't matter. But I did learn something though, right? So let's say you hook onto an enemy with a grapple, and then you go to use the slam attack. If you get
Hmm.
if you get caught on a piece of like scenery or something and get stuck on it, it'll eventually complete the slam attack, but it will project it to where they are. It doesn't happen where you are. It will just project it to wherever that person you hooked was, so you can have a ranged just explosive.
Makes sense.
And just saying,
I
once
don't.
I got that, it became my main way of dealing with anything.
I think if anything, we we have drugged this game through the dirt a lot.
I should very, very much clearly say I am enjoying my time.
Oh yeah, same.
Let's
Yeah.
good about the campaign for a moment. What are things that we like about the campaign?
Okay.
Actually, no, hold on. I have one more thing that it's not that I dislike, but I find it very weird. Why the fuck is Master Chief getting incredibly emotional now about seeing dead Spartans?
Well, see, personally, okay.
He has in every fuck. There's only been one game so far in which he has actually worked with other fucking Spartans.
But there is, like I said though, like with Halo, with some exceptions, for like 9 times out of 10, the novel content and the out of game, like the outside of the games content, is still canon. And in a lot of novels, he's worked with other Spartans.
That doesn't help the situation though, because your average player does not read the fucking.
I know. I'm
So
just
they're
giving
gonna
them
go
an okay
and
reason. I'm not saying it's the best. Again, I will always stand by, if the excuse for a reason is I have to read it in a you had to have read the books, go fuck yourself. Like how fucking Arbiters and Chiefs reunion after Halo 4 is in a book.
no. But even beyond that, all right, let's take that into account. All right, cool. He's worked them before. That still does not make anything because we know he's worked with fucking Marines before. But when he goes to a Marines body, he doesn't get all fucking emotional and sappy about it.
I will say though, I can understand it from a point of view of if their way of saying it is like he's been doing this a long damn time, and he's just at that point where it's starting to actually get to him because.
See, I don't buy that though.
I do only because I'm kind of going through that shit myself right now, where I've held a lot of stuff in and I just can't hold in a lot of stuff anymore right now. I've been venting a lot more and more.
Sure, but you're also not Master Chief.
But the difference is also, I've just been holding in everyday life stuff. He's been holding in war trauma, PTSD, and a lot of shit that you have to again remember. He was a fucking child. He's still like what? I think
No, that's the thing. That's the thing, though. He's a fucking Spartan too. Like that. Those aren't fucking factors for him. I would not believe for a moment that Master Chief would have fucking PTSD. He's not a normal human at this point. He is effectively a different fucking breed. Shit like that would not affect. That's why it was always kind of interesting with the sort of relationship with Cortana, because it was always pretty clear that like besides Cortana and fucking like Sergeant Johnson, he doesn't have anyone that he really like cares about, because that's just not really a thing. Like maybe you could argue like Dr. Halsey and Arbiter near the fucking end because they formed a bit of a kinship, but like beyond that, there's no real reason to believe that he really gave a fuck about anyone else, because that's just not something he had to worry about, because his life has always been combat, 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 combat. I'm this massive fucking super soldier, and I go in and I fight.
I mean, there are, from my standpoint of like what I've seen from like how far I've played, a lot of the Spartans, well, the Spartans that you do see that end up getting ultimately shit kicked. There are actually audio logs around where you can find that them and Chief were not like extremely close, but like particularly close. And not only that, I guess you could also argue that, you know, Chief probably feels at fault for it, considering that he was literally just in the vacuum of space for 4 months straight, not able to stop or help anybody. And so he could feel just like how he feels that Cortana is his responsibility and his fault. He feels the same for the Spartans.
That's fair. Now, mind you, I will say there's no chance for me to ever learn anything like that because I don't listen to the fucking audio logs because I find it genuinely annoying to do. Now, if they want to go with that, all right, then you do have a reason, but I would still contend that it's a dubious prospect at best, at least in my eyes, for really how fucking close he would be to them, and even to what degree to get him like that. Because at the same time, you also have to think, you know, Master Chief is a very goal oriented person, and the entire time throughout all this, he keeps pretty much like every time Weapon's like curious about something or is like dilly dallying, he's like, "Hey, hurry up, we have a fucking mission to do. You know, we've got to get this done. This is our responsibility. We're gonna fix this. I'm gonna fix this." So I can get the responsibility part. At the same time, though, it's I think it's just a bit too overdone if they want to go for that. Because like he'll get super quiet and then Weapon will start talking about what's happening, and then like there's just a small tinge of sad music, and then he gently rests his hand on their dead shoulder.
Well, also I think when he does that, I think that's also him neurally interfacing Weapon with them to find out like the actual name of the Spartan and what killed them and the cause of death. Because you notice every single time when he does that, Weapon is like, okay, well, this is what I'm seeing, you know, stuff like that. So I think it's some sort of neural thing as well.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to fucking hold his hand on there because we've seen with everything else, he touches it and she goes in and then he's good.
Yeah. And if anything, the weird thing that I find is that I've gotten almost to the end of the game practically, and you only come across those dead Spartans for the same number of equipment unlockables as there are, and they just disappear.
That's what that was.
Wow, so it was completely fucking that actually makes it even worse. So they're not even trying to tell a story with it. They just threw that fucking in. That's fucking
Yeah.
actually me.
The last time I saw one was literally probably about 6 to 7 hours ago in game when I got the last unlockable for me, which was the drop wall.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they never mention them again. They mention them by name, like audio logs and like in parts like the story. Like at one point you think you hear an audio transmission from Griffin. Not you.
Yeah, dog, when I fucking heard that, I got so freaked out. I was like, what the fuck?
I will say
Yeah, but
And then I realized, oh, it's their last name, those pieces of shit.
something that does bother me about it as well is like the only people you get that ever help you NPC wise are Marines. And don't get me wrong, I love the Marines. I love I love the Marines in all the games. I do have problems with the fact that they are just slobbing on that knob of Master Chief 24/7.
No, Jake, I'm gonna call you out on this one because you're being way too critical of that. All right, I want you to just consider something. Okay, so let's take this into account. Let's go with even the most extreme example. All right, of 5 months. All right, for 5 months, the UNSC believed that Master Chief, the living legend, the champion of the human race, the fucking most unstoppable force that they knew, that they probably all grew up hearing fucking stories about, that when they fucking joined, were like, yeah, I want to be like Chief. That person was just gone for five fucking months.
I understand
and then everything went to shit. No, let me fucking finish.
And then I understand what the fuck you're saying.
Jacob,
I already understand where your point is going.
Jacob, let me
Griffin,
finich.
no, you don't need to finish because I understand where you're going with this.
Jacob, let me finish.
No, God damn it.
Jacob.
No. Jacob. Okay, Phelps.
Chakakama.
Okay, Phelps.
Let me finish.
You're making some Phelps shit right now.
No, because he would not have a legitimate point. And then after all of this, he fucking spurs back onto the fucking scene and just out of fucking nowhere saves your dumb ass because you got fucking trapped in somewhere in a fucking pelican or a warthog. And then he's like, hey, come with me. Yeah, they're gonna be pretty goddamn excited because now they can fucking think, oh, I might make it out of this alive. Oh, the fucking our biggest heroes here, the fucking living legend. Yeah, they're gonna be fucking excited. Hey, do you want them to fucking be? Oh yeah, fuck you, chief. You
No,
piece of
that's
shit.
not what
You
I'm
missed that shot,
saying.
you fucking-
First of all, stop with the hyperbolic bullshit of making my arguments, trying to make my arguments for me. But like, okay, my thing is just I don't know. Maybe it's just I have shit RNG combining the grapple and then the stuff. It just seems like every 5 seconds they're saying something about how great Chief is. In my experience so far, so maybe it is, and like I understand, yeah, no, like the icon, the freaking figurehead of the UNSC military, the icon of it, has shown up and saved you, but I still also think they're trained military professionals. They should have some confidence in themselves and stop just always being like, oh yeah, chief this, chief that, chief. I'm like, okay, I like tone it down just a bit.
They're trained military professionals.
Jacob, at no point in Halo 1 through 5 have the fucking regular Marines come across as professional.
That's like getting mad
okay,
at the
but then again, modern day Marines don't come across as professional. So your point.
I distinctly recall in Halo 1 a Marine going completely apeshit before they even got to the fucking flood and fucking getting his goddamn unit killed.
Anyways.
The Marines have never been. Do you not remember the Scorpion fucking mission on the highway in fucking Halo 2?
Oh yeah, that one.
The Marines have always been pretty unprofessional around things like that because there's more camaraderie fucking with them.
Well, see, it also
so it doesn't seem out of character at all.
I was like that it does still kind of it also roll into another point. I don't know if it's just like an RNG thing, and again my RNG is just shit. But does it seem like it seems like there's another problem that kind of Infinite has is one that they kind of shares with Doom Eternal, and it's screen spanning, action stopping tip boxes, as well as and Doom Eternal doesn't have this part of the problem that I'm bringing up. But like okay, I'll just say I'm gonna be really vague about it to avoid spoilers, of course. In the first mission out in the open world, like the first main story